Well, hello. Today I'm going to work on the day 2 prompt for ValenTangle 2024. And I decided I wanted to work on this gray hexagonal tile. So to begin, always with the Zentangle process, we start with gratitude. And today I would like to just express my gratitude for having had a wonderful day. It's the evening time now. It was a bright sunny day here in Washington, D.C., and I'm looking ahead to some time off of work, so it's been really nice to take time for myself. And Zentangle drawing is definitely something I do as part of taking time for myself. So this is part of that sort of self-care time that I'm gifting myself now that I have a bit of extra free time on my hands. So the second step in Zentangles is drawing our corner dots. So in each one of these corners, very lightly just drawing in a dot. And then I will connect those corner dots to create a border. I like taking this time, these very first steps, to get myself settled in. So for this tile, the pattern that we're going to be doing is going to be fit into a series of triangles. So I'm going to draw a string from one vertex to the opposite. I guess in geometry, these would be considered diagonals. And that gives us our triangles. Now, to begin setting up for the pattern that we're going to be using today, towards the center of each of these triangles, I'm going to be drawing 3 dots, one to the bottom, one to the left, one to the right, as if I were to draw a triangle that's pointing down instead of the bigger triangle that's pointing up. So I guess if your larger triangle were pointing up, you would be just drawing a triangle in the center that's facing tip in the opposite direction. So here again in the center, 1 point down, 1 point here, 1 point here. And I'll put these 3 dots towards the center of each of these triangles. And I'm going to consider these dots as part of the string, meaning if I wind up using them to guide me, which I likely will, great. And if I don't, if I decide I want to change their position, that's fine too. I'm the artist, I get to make those choices. All right, I have all of my pencil lines and dots drawn in, so I'm going to switch over to my Pigma Micron 01. So I like to start from the center, and I'm going to draw 2 curves from the tip. I'm just going to focus on this triangle right here. From this top vertex, I'm going to draw a curved line, one meeting with this dot to the left, and the next meeting with the bottom dot here. And I'll do that for each one of my triangles. Now I'm going to work from this point over here, and I'll be connecting this point in a curve and this point in a curve. All right, and then I'll be working from this corner over here, and I'll be connecting this from a curve and this with a curve. I'm going to redraw this one. Didn't draw nicely. There we go. I will admit this, I had to practice this tangle for a little while before I had my mind wrapped around it. Usually I just get to get my materials out and start a video and just draw. But this one, it took me a minute to sort of wrap my mind around how I wanted to approach this pattern. It also felt very similar to one of the official Zentangle patterns. And so I was trying to find out, like, how can I accentuate the uniqueness of this pattern rather than falling into a pattern I'm much more comfortable with. All right, so that's the basic setup. Now I think I'd like to go in and add my hearts. And so I have, if I'm going to think about like this little like column, I guess I'll call it, I have these 4 points. This point and this point are quite narrow at the bottom, and I like hearts that are a bit wider. So I think I'm going to draw my hearts, just sort of nestle them into this corner here. Just one. Yeah, I like that. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same in the other 2 corners, sort of around the spiral area. I'm going to be turning my tile quite a bit to get to each of these spaces. So when I speed up the video, it'll probably look like my tiles spinning. It's already looking pretty cute. So let's see what to do next. I want to figure out what to do with these spaces here. I think I want to connect the heart. I don't want it, yes, they're very cute, just nestled there, but I want them to look as if they're connected with the pattern somehow. So I think what I'm going to do is draw right on these hearts back to like the corner points. Yes, I like that. It does look like it's connected to the design rather than just sort of plopped in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for each one of these hearts. I feel like it looks like a cute little heart flower. Fun. So now I'm thinking about what to do with this space sort of towards the center of each of those columns. I'm thinking about it like nestling in a seed shape similar to what we do in like bales, and then just doing these tethered aura lines going to each side. It could also be thought of like almost similar to the way I draw like orbs that are nestled one behind the other. Let's do the other side. Yeah, I'll do that for each one. I'm thinking about these sort of spiral spaces. We have a lot going on here and I really like it. But often when I'm working on gray tiles in particular, I like to have some inked in space. So I think I'm going to go ahead and ink in all of those. I guess I'm just going to call them little like spirals that we had put in towards the very beginning. I think this will be fun to play around with, putting some Stardust Jelly Roll on these. This might be a fun place to later put some, give the black space a bit of dimension by putting in some white chalk to give shapes and highlights. So I think this would, adding in this black space will add a fun opportunity to play around a little bit more. And hopefully contrast really nicely with the other sections that we've added. Great, I think we're done with our pen. Now it's time to add some color. What section shall we start with? I think I will start with my hearts and these like, I don't know, trailing the tails, heart tails. That's what I call them, I guess. And I think I'm going to shade and highlight, and the shading is going to be done with this Carb Othello Stabilo pencil, Stabilo pencil, there you go. And I'm going to treat this pencil as if it were just my regular graphite pencil and I were shading with just my graphite pencil. So I'm thinking about like, what's the dimension here on these heart tails? And I know part of it's going to be in the shadow. So I'm going to add the red kind of where I expect there would be some shadow there. Let's blend that in and see how it goes. I have a feeling there will be some redefining of the lines later. Every time I use these like chalk pencils, I'm always thinking, later on I'm going to have to redefine my lines. And then in the lighter areas, I'm going to use this lighter Carbothello pencil and treat it as if it were just my white chalk pencil in typical ValenTangle drawing and add a highlight right here. Yeah. Now for the heart itself, I think I'm going to use a combination of two pencils. This is Luminance pencil. Let's see, it's called Ultramarine Pink. And then I also have my Derwent metallic pencil that I used on day one. I like that one so much that I have a feeling it'll be popping up quite a bit. So I'm going to color in the insides of my heart with the Luminance pencil. And I'm going to try to leave a little bit of a gap for a few reasons. One, I want to go in and add some shading with that metallic pencil and some highlight later with a Posca, but also I don't like what it looks like when this pencil is drawing over the black. I want to leave the black lines nice and crisp. And then I learned in day one that I've got to press down pretty hard on my colored pencils to get the effect that I want. All right, so now I'm going to come in with this metallic pencil to add some darker area, just a little bit of dimension to my heart. And then I'm satisfied with that for now. I think later I'll come back with a white Posca pen and add more highlights, but I think color-wise, that's kind of where I want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of the rest of these hearts using that same pattern, and we'll see how it turns out. All right, I'm all done with those hearts. And so now I'm thinking about this space on the inside here, which I guess in this case almost feels like a textured background space. And we have a lot of pink and red already in here, so I was feeling like if I were to add more in this space, it wouldn't be, a great contrast. So I'm thinking I'm just going to go in with my regular old ValenTangle pencil and highlight and shade these sort of textured background spaces. So I'll add some graphite sort of along the sides here. A little bit extra where it looks like it's tethered or gathered. Blend that in. This paper is very smooth, so the graphite spreads quite a bit. And then right down the middle, I'm going to take my white chalk pencil, just put a shine right down that middle, kind of going back and forth, and then when it gets to these skinny areas, just sort of putting a line down that skinny area. And then use my tortillon for the white pencil and just blend in that highlight. And I'll probably come in later with a Posca pen to add a shine as well. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that for each one of these sort of textured background spaces. All right, I think we're getting close to the end. I think the rest is going to be kind of like a bunch of little finishing touches. So I'm thinking about like these spaces here that are kind of looking like, you know, I had maybe put in a circle there. I would like to use my white chalk pencil to put in these two little curves that'll like give this hint at there being kind of a circle in this, a raised circular area, I guess. Just to give the black space a little bit of shape. Like this almost looks like a little donut, a little donut in there. It's subtle, but I like all these like subtle little sort of details at the end. All right. And let's see, what else? I know last time I did not use my Stardust Jelly Roll, which I felt was quite a shame. I always like adding glitter. So I'm wondering how I can sneak some glitter in here. I think maybe, coming off of these sort of textured circles, maybe it can shoot some glitter, you know, down each of these arms here. Give some shine to those darker areas. Again, it's just sort of a subtle detail. I wonder if I want to add anything in these corner areas here, you know, some sort of either shading or color, maybe even highlight. White might be interesting. Just adding graphite might be interesting. And we already have sort of these graphite lines from our string still there. I think I just want to add some plain graphite. And then maybe later we can add some highlighting out here. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, and then if I add like some white later here, that might be nice. Let's try that. It makes me think I want to add something in those darker spaces. Maybe a little bit of a fescue. Or two. Yeah, I'm going to do that for each one. Now that I have my pen out, I want to see, are there any spaces where I want to redefine lines that had maybe gotten some chalk on them, aren't as clear as I would like them to be. When you use this much chalk, it's really easy to sort of blur out your original lines. All right, I think I'm ready for Posca pen time. Okay, lots of little highlights. I love highlights. Posca pen highlights are my favorite. Okay, gosh, we're gonna have so much on here. All right, I think I will start with, I want to put like a little flick on this highlighted area here. I want to put a little shine on each heart, 2 shines. Where else? Definitely a shine mark, some sort of shine mark in that inner area. Oh, and I want to put a little dot on each one of the fescues. All right, I think those are the things for now, and then we'll see how it's looking once I've got all of that in. I think the last thing I'd like to do is add some of that white chalk just to the border, kind of like I did at the end of the last tile, the day 1 tile. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm satisfied. Oh, I always say that, and then there's always something I find. I forgot to do this side. I was so excited to get done. Okay, now am I all done? I think so. I mean, there's a few points that I'm like, oh, I could put something in the middle. I could put something, in the center of these little, I don't know, donut areas. But I don't know. I feel like there's enough elsewhere drawing my eye and bringing interest that I don't feel like I'd really want to add something there. So I think I'm satisfied with this tile. I'm going to go ahead and write the quote, and then we'll look at the whole project all together. All right, so we have our finished tile. I have the quote on the back. Creativity is the door that opens my heart and listens to the whispers of my soul, by Susie Shiel, or Chiel. Interesting. And then here is our finished tile. I like that there's a bit of sparkle on it. Let's go ahead and add it to our Blizzard book. So I have my little title card, my day 1 tile, just sort of peeking out there. And here we go for day 2. I think I'll put it in this way this time. And then day 3, I guess I already have a white hexagonal tile, so we'll see how that works out next time. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had a wonderful time. If you are able to, try this out, I would love to hear how things are going for you for ValenTangle this year. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and that I get to see you again soon. Bye-bye.